I'm back with another video. This video is part 2 about my Namibia experience. This video is about the time that I spent in Etosha National Park. Here we go. Several years ago, I watched a documentary, and the feature of that documentary was a place called Etosha National Park and the wildlife that lived there. Ever since then, I want to see it. If you watched my previous video, you know that I have been in the Namib Desert, which is an 8-hour drive from Etosha National Park. So I decided to make the 4-hour drive back to Windhoek, checked into a hotel, very nice place, had dinner, got up the next morning, began the 4-hour drive to Etosha National Park. On the way, about an hour away from Windhoek, is the town of Okahanja. Okahanja is known for its wood market. Saw a video about it on YouTube, decided I wanted to check it out. Turns out, really interesting place. A lot of things here at a number of price points, and it is always a good idea to support the local economy. And when you do, I can assure you that everyone here will sincerely appreciate your patronage. The term Etosha in the Ndogo language means great white place. Ndogo is a dialect spoken by the Khoisan people who are indigenous to this area. And if you have watched my previous video about Namibia, you know that the Sand people represent the oldest culture on earth. And like many other indigenous people around the world, they are seeking to restore their rights in their ancestral land. One of the notable features of Etosha National Park is the Etosha Pan. The Etosha Pan is the largest salt pan on the continent of Africa. Its oval shape covers more than 1,800 square miles and is completely within the boundaries of Etosha National Park. When you look at Etosha, you wonder how all of this came about. Well, it is due to seismic activity that has happened over the last 100 million years. 16,000 years ago, the Kanene River from Angola filled the pan, and as the seismic activity continued, the river was rerouted, and eventually the pan dried out. And now we have what you see here, a salt pan that is large enough to be seen from space. In 2016, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, otherwise known by its acronym UNESCO, named the Etosha Pan a World Heritage Site. The Etosha Pan lies completely within the borders of Etosha National Park. The Pan is a World Heritage Site. Oddly, the park is not. Etosha National Park was recognized as a national park in 1907, largely due to the Pan and the abundant wildlife that lives in the area. There are 2 seasons in Etosha, the wet season and the dry season. The dry season is from May to October. I am here in the month of August, so there was no rain in sight. The roads to Etosha are paved. The roads inside Etosha are not. They're rough and they're dusty. I suggest you bring a trash bag, something to cover your camera equipment, because you'll find a fine layer of dust on all of it at the end of the day if you don't. When driving to Etosha from Windhoek, you're going to most likely enter the park through the Anderson Gate. When you arrive at the gate, you're going to meet some security staff there. They're going to ask you if you have a drone. Drones are not allowed. And if you have one, it is not a problem. They are going to take your drone and seal it. And when you exit the park, if you have a drone, they're going to see if your drone has been unsealed. And let's hope that it has not. They take their responsibilities seriously. And I don't believe they have a problem putting you on lockdown around here. Once you pass the first gate, you're going to proceed 17 kilometers to the Okukehu entrance. There, you will take the paperwork that you have been given at the first security location. You're going to take that into the park office. The park entry fee is in 2 parts. 1, you will pay for the vehicle, and then 2, you will pay for the number of occupants in the vehicle. I am traveling solo. My park fees came to about $15 a day. Once you arrive at the Okukehu campsite, you will find that there's just about everything there that you need. There are restaurants there, there are accommodations there, there's a gas station there, there's a gift shop there, there's a guide service that operates from that location. It is very convenient. Etosha is a place where most people self-drive. You cannot drive off-road, so it is very difficult to get lost. But just remember, the roads are rough and they are dusty. Once you enter the park, there are only a few designated areas where you can exit your vehicle. You cannot and should not exit your vehicle. If you do, you may find yourself face to face with something that doesn't want you there. Before I entered the Anderson Gate, I stopped and checked in at my lodge. It was a very nice place. Breakfast and dinner were served every day. They asked me what time I would be getting up in the mornings for breakfast, and they would have breakfast ready. And they'd also ask me what time I'd be back in for dinner. This place was only 10 minutes away from the Anderson Gate. It was quite convenient. The disadvantage to staying outside the park is that the park closes at sunset and you have to be out at sunset. If you are staying at one of the lodges or camps inside the park, during the night hours, you have access to the water holes at those camps. Each one of the camps at Etosha is near a water hole. These water holes are lit and you can go sit inside a fence. Yes, the animals get to watch people fenced in for once. And during the night hours, a lot of wildlife come and go. When I first looked at Etosha, I was convinced that nothing could live here. To make that assumption would be completely wrong. Within 3 minutes, there's a herd of elephants that walks by. Something about elephants in Etosha. Elephants in Etosha are taller. However, because of the lack of nutrition in much of the vegetation that they consume, their tusks are shorter. I can almost guarantee that you will see elephants in Etosha National Park. Lots of them. There are about 2,500 elephants that live here. I would suggest entering the park as early as possible because there is always a line at the park office with a number of people waiting to purchase their permit and pay their fees. So if you're staying outside the park, go early. The primary reason why over 100,000 people a year come to Etosha is for the wildlife. And although wildlife can be seen just about anywhere, the places where you are going to most likely see wildlife and wildlife in abundance are in and around over 80 water holes that are located in Etosha National Park. 4 of Africa's big 5 wildlife species live in Etosha. There are also a number of other species that you're going to see in abundance. One of them are ostrich. Ostriches are all over this place. Let me say something. I know we all have our fantasies of meeting Big Bird. Please know that that is fiction. These birds are real. If you get anywhere near an ostrich while you're on foot, let me just say that I hope your affairs are in order because we are going to see you on the other side. Ostrich are the world's largest birds. Ostrich are flightless. They stand somewhere between 7 and 9 feet tall. They weigh around 300 pounds. An ostrich can run up to 40 miles an hour. You're not going to outrun them. Ostrich mate between April and September. A female ostrich will lay fertilized and unfertilized eggs. They also lay the largest eggs of anything in the world. Their eggs weigh on average of 3 pounds, and she can lay up to 2 eggs per week. And after the female lays the fertilized eggs, it is the male ostrich who will sit on the eggs. So I sat at this water hole and I just watched wave after wave after wave of ostrich just come out of what appeared to be nowhere. They just keep coming. Something about ostrich. Some have black and white plumage. Those are males. Females are a bit smaller and they have gray plumage. I saw what might be my new favorite animal. It's called an oryx or a gemsbok. They're in the antelope family. Their markings are beautiful. Both males and females have horns. Although they may use them for different purposes, they both have them. The females will use her horns to protect her and her young. The males use his horns to impress other males during mating season. Gemsbok live to about 20 years, and there are about 400,000 of them on the African continent. A gemsbok can run over 35 miles an hour and can do it for a long time. Very impressive animal and is now one of my favorites. Another animal that you're certain to see that is also in the antelope family are springbok. They have beautiful markings as well. Both males and females have horns. Interesting thing about a springbok, springbok can run up to 55 miles an hour. A springbok can also leap 10 feet in the air. To go through the complete listing of wildlife that lives in Etosha would take a lot longer than I have to make this video. However, just a little patience around the water holes will certainly pay off. While you're parked at a waterhole, you're going to just see a number of wildlife species, all seemingly coexisting, having a good time, eating, drinking, doing what they do. You see them come and go. In come the ostrich, out go the zebra. In come the inyala, out go the oryx. Everyone is here. The springbok are running around playing. Everyone is having a good time. But know this, it's all fun and games until the lions show up. When the lions show up, it's like a house party when the police knock on the door. Everybody just evaporates. I saw this pride of lions. The camouflage is incredible because I didn't see them until they were almost right up on me. It was 1, there was 3, there was 5. Then I realized it's an entire pride of lions coming to the waterhole to drink. I think the zebras were the first to see them because they left first. And then everyone else followed. This pride of lions stuck around for a little while. They looked around, they drank. They all appear to be fairly young. There's a couple of young males in here who will probably be chased off in a few months. It is obvious that they are given a great deal of respect and a very wide berth. They stayed in the water hole for about 20 minutes, maybe 30. They disappeared in the same way that they came. I noticed that some of the elephants here appeared a bit different. They're called ghost elephants. They're called ghost elephants because they're encrusted in the mud from the salt pan. There's a couple of reasons why they do this. One of them is to protect their skin from the sun and insects. I saw elephants at just about every stop that I made in the park. As I said, there are 2,500 elephants that live in Etosha. They're going to be hard to miss. Close to the end of my first day in Etosha, I realized that I was going to be racing the sunset. I needed to start making my exit. Then I spotted a lion just laying in the bush. And I thought, well, I just can't just leave. I got to sit here and watch this. And as I watched him, then his brother appeared. These are 2 young males who have probably just left the pride. Female lions will stay together for quite some time. Male lions at a certain age, you have to go. One of them walked right by me. In fact, he walked so close to the car, I had to roll the window up. Then I realized, okay, I'm going to have to get out of here because the personnel at Anderson Gate are very serious about the park closing at sundown. And I still have a ways to go before I get there. So I have to say goodbye to these lions, pack up, and start heading out. I get back to the Anderson Gate as the sun is setting. I went back to my lodge for dinner. I am traveling solo, so they conveniently sat me at a table for 1. Then I went back to my room, got up, and had breakfast that morning, went back into the park, did this thing all over again, and I can tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was hard for me to get enough of watching wildlife here. As I said, I went to several water holes, and I just watched species come and go. It's almost like being at the airport. They come in and then they leave. Never a dull moment. There's a school in the village just outside the Anderson Gate, and this is another opportunity for you to support the local economy. There are people from the Himba tribe. I sat and I talked with them, and they were as curious about me as I was about them. It was an education and culture for both of us. I'm glad I stopped and talked with you. Thank you for watching. I enjoy bringing this type of content to you, and if you like it as well, please click that like and subscribe button. Thank you. In my research about Etosha, I had read that it was one of the top 10 wildlife experiences on the continent of Africa. In my experience, I have visited several national parks in the continent of Africa, and I can honestly say that what I read is true. I had a great time here. And I know you've heard me say this before. I've had such a great time here. I am going to try and figure out how I can get back. But until then, I will leave you with these. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video soon. Please tune in.